All right, folks, you want to know what's depressing? Death metal is old people's music. Yes, that's right. When I think about the newer bands that I listen to, bands like Narcotic Wasteland and bands like Ultimus, those are new bands, but they've been around. The musicians themselves are in their 40s and 50s. Now, I'm excited about the debut album from Kill Division. I've been following those guys, Gus Rios and Kyle Simons, since the mid-90s. When I saw Left to Die, which is a death tribute act fronted by Matt Harvey of Exhumed, Left to Die played in Cleveland, Ohio, and frontman Matt Harvey made a joke about how hot it was in the venue. And he said, "Man, tonight is like sweating to the oldies." And it made me think, like, you would have had to have been at least 40 years old to get that joke. Sweating to the oldies was this some show or whatever in which Richard Simmons, who had his heyday in the 80s, was a very fruity gay man who had this exercise show. And it was called Sweating to the Oldies. And oldies was 50s music at the time, and it was popular in the 80s. So, yeah, that's what that joke was. And when you think about certain music festivals, like I went to a Maryland Death Fest, most of those bands had their heyday in the 90s. Sure, there were some new bands, and sure, there are younger people at the shows, which is always refreshing to me, but it'll never be like what it was 30 years ago, back in the 90s. And when you look at rap music today, a lot of these rappers, they're, plugging their, debut album or their second album. They haven't been around for that long, and they're playing these big festivals, getting, and it kind of reminds me of how Guns N' Roses was, 30-something years ago. Excuse me. So, yeah, I mean, eventually rap music will become old-fashioned, old people's music. It might be a while, but it'll eventually happen. Got to wonder what's going on in the future. Another genre of music that I've been listening to is called synthwave. It's 80s pop music made by people who weren't even alive in the 80s. A lot of young people in their 20s are making this kind of music. I love it, but that's the thing. It's not necessarily new. It's very derivative of pop music from the 80s, and it's obviously recorded in more recent production value, so it doesn't quite sound the same. It's obviously recently recorded, but you can tell it's derivative of the old sound. So there you go. What the hell do you guys think? Is death metal now old people music? You go to the shows and nobody's moshing, everybody's standing still and jamming out to the music. Nobody can headbang anymore. I've got to shave my head because I lost my damn hair. Oh my God. Tell me what the hell you think.